What's up everybody, welcome to Instrument Investigation Episode 3. Today we're going to be taking a look at the GREATEN AP300 wind synthesizer. Before we get going, I just want to thank the nice folks at GREATEN for sending me this instrument. I'm so excited to open it up and give it a play, so without any further ado, let's check it out. Okay, so here's the big cardboard box. We got a little picture on the front, electronic wind instrument. Yep, that's what it is. From GREATEN. Let's go. Digital music brings joy and simplicity to life. I definitely agree with the joy part of that. Got a little bit more info on the inside cover here. This might go on my wall. Ooh, that's nice. I like that too. And here we have the instrument itself. Pretty familiar key layout. Looks like over here we've got the UI, octave rollers, and then over here, this looks really interesting. Looks like we have a joystick. So that's cool. Can't wait to see what this does. All right, let's turn it on, see if it holds any charge. Hey, look at that. Looks like it does. It looks like I can use this little dial to go through the sounds. Got saxophones, clarinets, oboes, English horns, bassoons, flutes. So clearly a lot of built-in sounds that I can play with here. The mouthpiece comes with this little mouthpiece cover. Looks like there's a screw down here so you can take out this whole unit to clean it. I'll have to try that later. Let's set the instrument aside for now and see what else is in this case. User guide, English, super important. I'll definitely be diving into this. Back here is a list of all of the patches that are built in. Looks like we have about 100. Looks like it comes with a convenient GREATEN carrying bag. That's sweet. We've got USB to micro USB cable for charging. This neck strap looks pretty nice. And an extra mouthpiece. So it looks like the AP200 has button style octave keys and the AP300 has roller style octave keys. That's cool. I'm glad I got the 300 because you know I prefer those rollers. And just because I know we're all curious, here's a side-by-side look of the AP300 and the EWI 5000. Looks like they are almost the same size, but as you can see, the EWI is actually slightly longer and the AP300 is slightly shorter. I personally prefer smaller instruments, so I'm glad that the folks over at GREATEN managed to take an extra couple centimeters off of the AP300. Okay, well, I think it's time to play this thing. So right away I can tell you that this thing feels really comfortable in my hands. The keys have a nice concave shape to them that feels nice under my fingers. I really like that they included a hook for the left thumb just in case I want to play this without a neck strap, although I'm not sure why I would because this thing is pretty comfortable. I love that these two rollers in the middle here have a textured feel. Gives my thumb a home base and helps me know what octave I'm playing in. Yeah, this thing feels nice to hold. Like, it's pretty solid. I wouldn't say that it's heavy, but it definitely doesn't feel like a toy, which is nice. There are a couple ways to get sound out of this instrument, including the built-in speaker, the headphone jack, and the 1/4 inch coming out of the end here. I'm gonna use the 1/4 inch to connect to my USB audio interface, and while I'm at it, I think I'll just plug in the USB-C cable so that I can use it as a MIDI controller as well. So as I was configuring my audio settings and everything over here in Ableton Live, I noticed that my computer actually recognizes the AP300 as its own audio device. This means that I'm actually able to record this instrument with just a USB connection, which means that I don't need to use a 1/4 inch cable and my audio interface at all. This is really exciting because one of the questions that I get asked the most is, how can I record my electronic wind instrument? And the answer is always like kind of complicated, especially for people who are novices to digital audio and recording and stuff like that, because the answer is, well, you need an interface and you need this specific cable. But with this thing, whether or not you want to record audio or you want to record MIDI, all you need is the included USB-C cable. This is kind of genius in my opinion, and it's not something that I've ever seen implemented in other electronic wind instruments. For this demo though, I will be using the 1/4 inch cable out so that I can continue to use my audio interface to record my voice through this nice microphone and everything. This thing has a library of 100 patches. Here's some of the highlights. So I'd say these built-in sounds are pretty decent. They're obviously not the same quality as like the top-of-the-line virtual instruments or contact libraries or what have you, but they sound pretty decent. They provide a wide range of dynamic expression, which is nice, and you know, that's more than Akai can say for their built-in sounds, so score 1 AP300. Let's see what this thing can do as a MIDI controller. So as a MIDI controller, I think this thing works pretty well. I occasionally get some issues with stuck notes, so I'm hoping that'll be fixed in a firmware update in the future. I will say though that tends to only happen when I'm playing fast with complex articulation, so if that doesn't sound like something that you do, then I wouldn't worry about it too much. As a MIDI controller, I really appreciate that you can define which CC messages are sent from the pressure sensor and the byte sensor. That's really nice because often different synthesizers are programmed to respond to different CC messages, so this gives you the flexibility to work with many synthesizers without having to do too much configuration on the synthesizer side of things. I wish there was a way that I could do the same thing with the joystick and the glide strip. That would be another nice to have for a future firmware update. They do send MIDI messages right now as it is. I think this sends number 23 and this sends I forget, something. So if you do want to use these features and send MIDI that way, then you can, which is nice. You do actually get to define what CC messages pitch bend up and down send, but if you do that, if you have it sending CC instead of pitch bend data, then you don't have pitch bend anymore, so a bit of a trade-off there. On the topic of pitch bend, I do find it difficult to do subtle movements with this joystick. Maybe if it was a little bit larger or traveled a little bit further, I'd have an easier time with it. This isn't that big of a deal for me though. What I might end up doing when I'm using this controller is I might just set up my synths to do 1 semitone of pitch bend instead of 2 semitones of pitch bend, and then get some of that fine control back that way. I think my only other gripe with this instrument is that I feel like I have to bite down pretty hard on the byte sensor to get a signal out of it. Even after turning the sensitivity all the way up, I still find that I have to bite down quite hard to get the signal that I want from it. I actually find it more comfortable to use my side teeth for that reason rather than my front teeth, just because like I get a little bit more force that way. I will say though that I have the same problem with the Akai EWIs that share a very similar mouthpiece design, so it could just be a me thing. Other people don't seem to have too much of a problem with it. Oh, and I should also mention that this comes with an option for wireless MIDI. I tried it. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not quite ready yet, so definitely use the wired connection instead. So here are my final thoughts. If you're into the design of the Akai EWIs and you want to get something really similar for a fraction of the price, then I would definitely recommend getting the AP300. In a lot of ways, I'd say that this has the potential to be even better than the EWI 5000 and the EWI Solo. It's got more expressive built-in sounds, it's got a smaller built-in speaker than the EWI Solo, it's even slightly smaller than the EWI 5000. It has the potential for wireless MIDI in the future, which is really nice, and you can record your playing and the built-in sounds of this instrument using only a USB-C cable, so you don't have to worry about an audio interface and all that other stuff. If they can fix the issues with stuck notes and Bluetooth MIDI in the future, then this instrument is going to be the best one on the market for the price, or maybe just period. Who knows? So it's no secret that I have a bit of a bias toward the Akai EWIs. I've been playing them for 10 years, and I really like the touch-sensitive keys and the octave rollers, so of course I'm going to like this instrument a lot. It's a really great take on the classic EWI design with a lot of updated features and quality of life improvements. In a lot of ways, I feel like GREATEN took the best parts of the EWI Solo and the EWI 5000 and just added even more great stuff to this instrument, so I'm really impressed by that. I think what I want to see next from GREATEN, maybe in the AP400 or whatever they make next, is something that pushes the envelope a little bit more. It would be really amazing to have a smaller instrument. I've always kind of thought that the EWI doesn't really need to be that much bigger than like the distance from here to here, and we could even move the two hands like even closer together and make a smaller, more compact instrument. That would be great. It would also be really nice to have something with 5-pin MIDI out so that I can use it with, you know, my Korg Minilog XD module and other synthesizers. Maybe if the mouthpiece was a little bit smaller and easier to bite, that would be great too. I think this instrument is what I'll be recommending for beginners from now on, and I would even recommend it to professionals who are looking for a affordable electronic wind instrument with saxophone fingerings. I should mention, by the way, that the saxophone fingerings are very accurate, and the inclusion of this Bis key makes me very, very happy. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this to be helpful or interesting, please leave a like and subscribe. If you want to support this channel, you can donate to my Ko-Fi page, maybe buy some of my patches for electronic wind instruments while you're at it. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or any experience with this instrument, and I will see you next time.